Right, boys. Hope everyone had a great week. Talk to me about some dad wins and fails that we may have had.
Well, speaking of birthdays, we had 3 birthdays in the last week.
Ooh.
So we're in
Nice.
birthday season right now.
Yeah.
It starts mid-May and it rolls all the way through June. And shout out to my wife. She asked me for a kind of cake that I wanted for my birthday, right? I threw her a s'mores cake. So again, kind of off, she's really good at making cakes.
Yeah.
And this one was like, it's not even baked, right? It came out amazing. So let me just throw this out for you. You take graham crackers, right? And you layer at the bottom. You make a chocolate ganache.
Yeah.
With like baking
that's
chocolate.
enough right there. I
It's
could
good.
just eat a vat of chocolate
Seriously,
ganache.
it is so good. And then the marshmallow isn't really marshmallow; it's actually a meringue. So
okay.
it's egg whites and sugar, whatever,
Yeah,
whipped
yeah,
together. So you just start slowly laying. I think there's like 14 layers of it.
Oh, wow.
And then you
Gosh.
put it in the fridge overnight. And somehow the graham crackers, you think they'd be like crispy, they get really soft. So like you can cut a fork right through it. And then the final touch, which was great, the meringue on the top. You take a kitchen torch and you
Hit it
like
up.
blast it,
Yeah.
so it looks like toasted. Oh, it was so good. So
Oh.
that was my win.
Nice.
Great job. Good job, Anna.
Yep.
Good
Shout
job.
He's so high maintenance, isn't he?
Oh my gosh, this guy.
I want a 7 layer.
I want a 14-layer s'more cake is what you asked for. Just pause. She's got 4 little kids at home, and you say 14-layer s'more cake.
And
That's
FYI,
what
which
you
he
can do.
didn't mention, he also went golfing on Sunday.
I did, yeah. She gave me the birthday golf pass, so I had to take her
How'd
up
you
on
shoot?
that. It was rough.
You rough. Oh, rough. Okay.
Let's just actually it started really bad and did good. So
good.
you know what? Took me about 9
That's
holes.
how golf typically is.
Took me
And
about
that's
9
what brings
holes
you
to
back
get warmed up. Yeah,
Absolutely.
first round of the year. So
Nice. How
about you guys?
We also had like a fun-filled birthday weekend. My youngest turned 2
Nice.
this weekend, and one of the fun things that we did was we took our kids to their first ever movie.
Oh, nice.
So we saw the Peppa Pig movie. And for anyone that doesn't know, Peppa Pig's mum is also pregnant right now. So the movie is all centered on explaining to the kids how babies are made and all that stuff. So
You learn anything?
I learned a ton, actually. These are all notes that I took from the movie, actually.
He's scribbling in the back.
There is a really funny moment where the kids ask where parents where kids come from, and the dad just freezes in the movie, and I was like, that is every dad.
the Peppa Pig dad.
I've got a story or two about those questions. My wife just is like, that is not how you answer that question.
The worst part is you're probably being serious as well.
100%.
Well, I feel like that's a nice pivot into this week's topic in question. So I'll kick it off with: are we spending too much on parties for kids who won't remember it? And what do you guys typically do in your household? Who'd like to go first?
Yeah, well, I'll just kick it off in the sense that you guys talked about birthdays. We actually had a birthday as well this
Oh, wow.
weekend.
Yeah.
My daughter turned 4. My youngest daughter actually turned 4, and how we look at birthdays is like these birthdays are kind of just like normal, whatever. I would say the only birthday we really spend a lot of energy on is their first birthday. And I'm not sure why it started. I don't know if it's an Italian thing. I'm not really sure what it is, but like you have the child's dedication or baptism, depending on what sort of, I guess, religion you're in, which is always a big deal. And then that first birthday always seems to be like sort of a big, like monumental, like, okay, the kid made it to 1.
yeah.
They're going to live forever now,
Yeah.
or something like that. But those are the 2 first big birthdays we throw, where like we invite a bunch of people. And outside of that, it becomes more of like a very like more intimate gathering. Now, we always invite the grandparents over, and their godparents are always invited over.
Yep.
But typically outside of that, we don't really have a big party. But but the first birthdays are very like there's a lot that goes into them.
Our first birthdays that we've done for the kids have been out of hand.
Oh yeah.
And usually the first birthday is actually more for the parents. Like you as parents
made it.
survived.
Too.
You
Yeah,
made it.
you made
Exactly.
it.
No, seriously. Like you made it. So I've got some stats here. So the average US parent spends $400 to $500 on kids' birthday parties. So that doesn't really distinguish between first, second, third, or whatever.
Yeah.
25% of parents feel pressured to throw an air quote Instagram-worthy party for the kid's first birthday.
Oh, that's rough, man.
Yeah. 38% of parents admit to going over budget for their first birthday.
That seems low.
I think everybody's pretty close to everybody goes over.
Yeah.
71% of parents say that planning a birthday party is more stressful than planning a work event. And the average birthday takes about 15 hours to plan.
Oh, that seems crazy to me. But my wife is. I've never planned a birthday party.
Yeah.
I'm not. No, you're type A. Do you plan birthday parties? Okay,
I'm type A in the sense that I want an opinion on everything, but I want my wife to do everything.
Okay.
Classic.
So let
Classic
me
dad response.
I'm pretty sure that's every husband.
Yeah.
No, but I still want an opinion. So my youngest, her first birthday, so she's a summer baby. So her first birthday, we had like the East Coast frozen custard van was like at our house. We had like this like bar and bartender and all of this stuff, and we had like all these like
kidding.
This is all out.
legit.
we had cocktails named after like the kids and like all this kind of stuff. We had the bounce house. We had like all this like rented like stuff in terms of kids activities.
The bounce house, was it worth it?
Absolutely. Bounce
I
house.
got to agree. We've done it. We don't do it all the time. We did it once.
It's not just like a regular bounce house. It's like a bounce house assault course type thing. So like the kids can kind of like climb, slides, all of that stuff. Yeah. And then our house just becomes like open door policy. Every door is open. So we've got like usually what happens is the basement downstairs is where like all the dads are like congregating. So we usually try and do it around, or it usually ends up being around like some kind of sporting event, ironically, every time. So the dads are kind of watching something downstairs. All the mums are like upstairs doing like pizza party and like whatever else. And all the kids are just running havoc in the house. And what's funny is...
That's just a Tuesday in my house.
But what's funny though is being so type A, I am so averse to like mess in my house. Birthdays are the one time of the year where I just completely forget that.
Just don't care.
That's awesome.
Stuff will be breaking. Things will be getting spilled.
Yeah.
Like you'll have like some kid like standing inside the grand piano, and I'm like, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up. I'm the same way. Normally, I'm like, take your shoes off, like trying to keep it together.
Shoes is such a big one.
And then
All right,
it all goes out the window when a birthday party comes.
Shoes. When people come over.
Shoes off.
Okay, so shoes off.
We're mixed bag. I typically shoes off, but if people wear their shoes, I don't really.
I am completely the opposite. Like if you take your shoes off, great. But I'm not going to go to another grown man and tell them like, "Hey, take your shoes off." I just can't fathom that.
So where this came to a head in our family,
this is actually,
was this a premarital?
No. And I'm
you know the when you go to your counselor before you get married.
I am sorry to call out my father-in-law in this, but my father-in-law works a construction job.
Yeah.
And he comes over for dinner every Monday. And just think about this, like you're working in the field. And
sure.
So, and
what type of construction job? He's working in the field. Yo, Jethro!
The field of construction.
Ringing the dinner bell, and Jethro comes rolling in.
You know what I mean.
Okay.
He comes over and he's like, sometimes a little bit messy or whatever else. And this was around the time when we had kids like crawling like on the floor and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you cannot walk into our house with your feet squelching with whatever is going on, like with wherever you've come from.
Yeah.
So like my wife very graciously bought him like a pair of like indoor like slippers.
Yeah.
And like we kind of passive aggressively left them like by the door. We're like,
funny.
This is for you.
Did he get the tip?
He did.
Okay. All right.
He's great. And I'm
That's
like
great.
I said, not to call him out or anything, but yeah, we are absolutely like shoes off. But for the birthdays, I don't care.
No one cares?
Yeah. Oh, you want to go jump in my bed with your muddy shoes? Do whatever you want. Birthdays, all hell breaks loose.
Is that just because you're like, we got to get through this thing? Like, it doesn't matter what happens in it. You know that you're going to have 4 hours of cleanup afterward, no matter what happens. So it's just like...
I don't know, because I actually love the cleanup after. It's so gratifying.
Oh, because it's just absolutely
destroyed.
Okay.
And
it's like an ASMR, or not the ASMR, but it's
yeah.
one of those videos
I know
that
what
you
you're
watch
saying.
and they like clean up the whole yard or something like that. I got you.
Yeah. And it's everything's destroyed. And I just like the thought of like the big black bin bags where you just like, there's a table and like with your like arm and your forearm, you're like just shoving it all in.
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect.
Throw it all away.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're throwing kids' presents in. You're doing all of that.
So weird.
So let me ask you guys this, because I don't remember this as a kid, but I feel like now all the birthday parties are themed. They all have like a heavy theme. Where I'm thinking as a kid, was that always a thing, or I feel like we used just to get together.
I mean,
as a
you're
kid
reading
and
my
eat
mind.
cake,
I wrote down a couple of themes that we've done for the kids.
What do you got?
Unicorns,
Yeah,
rainbows,
sure.
daisies,
Classic.
Yeah.
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles
For
come
you
on.
or the kids?
Oh, these are all for me. Sorry, I didn't realize you were naming the kids ones. We did a Harry Styles one for when one of my daughters turned 2, And I don't know if you guys are big like Harry Styles fans.
I don't know anything about
You know
him.
Harry?
No,
Okay.
I know him, of course,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't.
I mean, I've been with Harry since the One Direction days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he
Singer, real popular.
He has this one music video where he's wearing this like red outfit, and it's like a sequined like red outfit. My one sister-in-law handmade the red outfit and sequined by hand every single one of them and stitched it on
my
for
goodness.
my daughter.
That's amazing.
So we've had a couple of fun ones, and like I said, most of these birthdays have been for us. But what about like growing up? Like, what were birthdays like, either for you guys or friends' ones? Or
That's what I say. I just remember. I remember going to a couple places. I think like a pizza party or like bowling, or it was had a few friends and ate cake.
did you guys
and
ever
we
go
were
to
happy.
Pizza Hut, like the Pizza Hut birthdays?
I don't know if I ever had an official
I would
birthday
have
there.
killed for a Pizza Hut birthday.
Oh,
Like I would have
wow.
literally
That
like
was a gold standard.
I would have-
man.
that was a gold
Respect
standard, man.
Pizza Hut with like the black pan, like the thick
Oh, yeah.
deep crust, and then you get to go to like the salad
You get the
bar.
personal pan pizza on
Yeah,
your
the
birthday,
personal pan
right?
pizza,
They-
yeah.
Did you
Well,
get a free one on your
yeah,
birthday?
yeah.
And then you've got like the salad bar, and you're loading up on like potato
man.
salad.
That would
You guys
have been
didn't- you guys
fantastic.
didn't have that?
No, but my birthdays were like we typically would be like I don't know. My mom would make, or my grandma. One of them would make like a cake, like a
Yeah.
Betty Crocker cake.
Yeah.
And
Not like
somebody-
not a 14-layer ganache.
no, there's no 14-layer chocolate.
You guys are missing out. Let me just tell you, you guys are.
Yeah, with whatever,
You guys are really
whatever on
missing
top,
out.
meringue on top. No, no. I mean, it was, I guess, typical like suburbia. Whatever. There was no ponies, nothing like that.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is we'd always have, and actually, it was funny. I think it was on Christmas. My dad found all these old movies, and he started playing some of them. And there was one of my birthday, and do your kids have a moment in which they open up all the gifts and everybody watches?
We try and avoid doing that. That
So that
really
is-
cringes me.
we
out.
do
That has been completely gone in
We
almost
do that.
every birthday we go to, where
Yeah.
the child not just with the family we do, with our immediate family
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
But when you have like a large gathering, that seems to have gone away.
Yeah, it has.
And there's
So you're saying people just don't open them at all, or they just open them at any time?
they'll either like open it when somebody gives it to them, or they'll leave all the gifts in one area and they open
You mean
them up
like
later.
the whole like showmanship of like
Yeah, like the birthday person sits up front and the person brings
sure.
up their
Yeah,
gift
yeah,
and they
yeah.
stand there and they open it up and then
Yeah.
they go sit down and the next person does it. So there's a video of that happening for me and my friends or whatever.
yeah.
it
How old
was.
were you? Do you remember?
I
What year
was
it
probably like 8 or 9 or something
Okay,
like
all
that. Just based on how good I looked in the videos. That's kind of what I'm basing it off of. It's a good looking 8 or 9 year old.
that's when he peaked.
But yeah, like that doesn't really happen in most parties we go to. Either like you leave the gift there or you individually give the kid or whatever the gift. So that's one thing. I'm not sure if people.
If I'm being honest,
that
we
still.
and especially like in recent times, we're trying to avoid people giving us presents.
Yeah, and we don't ever ask them, but it's
Yeah.
a kid. A kid should always get a present,
Yeah,
man.
people
Like
still
you should
show up,
always,
even if you say no. Like,
Yeah,
What's wrong
even
with
if
like
you
a,
know.
a contribution to like their 529 plan?
that's what
How
you
exciting.
want
How
to do. But a
how
kid's not going to
exciting
be
for
like,
a
"Oh, my
7-year-old."
birthday was awesome. My 521
Hey, listen,
529 went up by
you're
whatever."
8 now, but in 10 years, you're gonna really appreciate this
Let
gift.
me explain compound interest, Jake. What about for you in particular, Andrew? Like you have like a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys end up grouping kids' birthdays together? Do you do them individually? How do you guys manage even like the guest list when it comes to birthdays?
Well, like I said, their first birthday is their big birthday, and after that, it's kind of like we don't really do many things in terms of just pure play birthday. I think if like we just haven't really done it after their first birthday, but we have in April we have 4 birthdays in April, so it's like literally a birthday a week in
Yeah.
April. And internally as a family, you guys remember like there's our little nuclear family. There's 13 of us. So when we invite anybody in the family over, so you throw grandparents in, you're now at let's call it 20 because usually one of the other cousins ends up tagging along or something like that. So an immediate family thing for us is like 20 to 30 people.
Yeah.
And then if they have any friends, they'll typically invite a couple friends, and then those parents end up coming. And so I wouldn't say we do anything crazy planning wise, or how we like limit a guest list. It's much more on the idea of just like how do we make this kid feel special?
Yeah.
What we typically do in terms, even the number of presents they get, because you got to remember like there's 13 of us. So while we don't get them 13 presents, they still get to get 11 or so presents from the immediate family.
Yeah.
And then you throw in, your grandparents and everything.
You guys got a storage unit out back where you
So,
can just move.
dude,
move
it is
toys?
all
I
every
would just be
birthday
reusing and recycling those presents.
Every birthday is an event.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned like themes.
Yeah.
Like every kid has their own themed birthday.
So do you let the kids decide the theme?
Sometimes.
Do you let the kids decide the theme?
We don't really do themes.
Really?
Well, I guess we have when they were younger, and it was usually something they were interested in.
No
at
Harry
the
Styles
time.
birthdays?
No Harry Styles.
So like this was my 4-year-old. She loves elephants. Like loves elephants.
Okay.
So this was like an elephant themed birthday. So like think of like fairy tale elephants. Like that's kind of that was the theme. So it was nice, whatever. But like the example of this birthday is like, you know, the kid's birthday is the entire day. So it's not like we'd like say, oh, it's 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So our kids, you know, the moment they wake up, it's like they get to decide what they're eating what the whole family eats for breakfast, what the whole family eats for lunch, what the whole family eats for dinner.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun like that where it's like truly their day. But I would say that, you know, we try to keep it to where it's not insane. We've had some insane birthdays, kind of like yours, where we had one birthday where there was a custom ice cream person came and they you would go up and you'd order the ice cream and they'd make it right in front of you and stuff like that. But we try to keep it more chill because it gets
one of the worst ones we did was
aggressive.
we had like a cotton candy like maker.
We've had
But the problem with that is like you can't monitor how much cotton candy these kids have had. And that bounce house, it's like these kids are on like crack.
My brother-in-law and sister-in-law had it before we had
Yeah.
it. I think our kids were like, I had 20 of the things. One kid said, I had 20 of those things. And it was just like, you could see his heart like beating through his shirt.
I was going to say their pupils get dilated and they're just like, how many have you had?
What do you think are the most popular birthday themes in the US? And this is from a 2024 survey. So it's, you know,
24. Elsa, Frozen.
Frozen is number 2.
Yeah, any Disney
on the
stuff,
list.
I would say,
I'd say,
for sure.
Frozen, Bluey.
No, actually. Big fans of Bluey on this podcast.
Bluey's where it's at. What else would you do?
Cowboy, cowgirl, Western farmer.
He's working in the field, coming in for his birthday.
No.
Field worker.
Give us one. Give us another one.
Think another Disney movie.
Another Disney, like Moana, or what's the one with the
Beauty
little
and the
blue?
Beast.
The little blue
Nemo,
alien.
Finding Nemo.
No, a little blue alien.
Blue Alien. Oh, Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, Lilo and Stitch.
No, Encanto. Encanto is number 5.
Ooh, Encanto.
Oh, okay.
Encanto's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big
Dinosaurs. I mean, boys.
Yeah,
that
dinosaurs,
makes sense.
trucks, dinosaurs,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
that sort of thing is. Would be.
Super Mario. Surprised by that
Oh,
one.
because that came out on video.
That did
I
come
get
out,
that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
get
it's
that.
Oh, yeah, I
it's
would say, too,
2024.
there's got to be some Avengers or superhero themes
It's
going
not.
on.
No, swing and a
No?
miss again. No, I'm sorry.
Jeez, what are you guys doing out there?
Yeah, no.
Have you guys ever seen the Marvel series?
Jurassic Park. The whole.
Think similar to Bluey. Think
Remember when
animals.
Barney was like every kid's birthday theme?
Barney, looking back, was a little bit
Creepy.
cringe, creepy. Yeah, creepy was the word I'm looking
Creepy.
for.
Yeah.
Or the Teletubbies. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah, that was
That
big in the
was
UK,
Teletubbies
right?
is the worst.
Glad that's not on the list.
So
Biggest thing since Oasis.
let me round out this list because I've got like a little fun fact here. So Paw Patrol.
Okay, yeah,
was
Paw
another
of
Patrol,
one.
course, yeah.
And I think that movie
Patrol.
came out around that time as
None
well.
of my kids got into Paw Patrol. I'm not sure why. I mean, like tangentially,
Yeah.
they never like super.
So
into it.
speaking of Barney, Teletubbies, and speaking of like creepy birthday themes, do you know that clowns are now requested at less than 5% of kids' birthdays?
I mean,
I buy
that
it.
Stephen
Less
King
than
series,
5%.
It's been pretty popular.
That's
So
it.
I think that's really turned the cultural
Oh, that was our
tide.
theme for my kid's first birthday.
It's turned the tide away from clowns.
But isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I growing up, clowns and like those like balloon guys were at almost every
Well,
kid's birthday.
I would say we found this one balloon guy that we had at a first birthday.
Yeah.
So we'll do something like that. We'll typically bring in some talent.
yeah.
A face painter or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But this one balloon guy came and he was incredible. Like there was nothing you could stump this
Yeah.
dude with. Like
Wow.
he built. I can't even imagine. I can't even
Like an
begin to explain.
AK-47.
Oh, 100%. He was making guns for the,
Oh,
for
wow.
the bull. I mean, anything you could imagine this guy
That's
could make.
cool.
And it was so stinking fast. And he was one of those guys who was like, he would joke the whole time while he was doing it.
yeah.
So like he had like, it'd be like one kid and like 6 parents surrounding him waiting for this guy to like joke about whatever he was making. Cause he was actually like hilarious. He was like, and then face painters, that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So,
You guys ever had the animal guy in Cleveland?
Oh yeah.
He comes over with all the
Terry,
reptiles
Jungle
and stuff.
Terry.
Yeah, yeah.
Jungle
Yeah.
Terry's
That guy,
it, man.
That
Shout
guy,
out to Jungle Terry.
that guy has the country club circuit. That
Oh,
guy has like the
absolutely.
birthday circuit. I mean,
Yeah.
that guy, he does well. I didn't realize we were plugging people at this
And the
point.
thing is, Jungle Terry, I have no idea if these are his animals or if he just
Or he
goes
got
like
'em.
rent a snake and
Has
just
anyone
brings-
done a background check on this guy?
Yeah,
Do you guys ever do like piñatas or any of that stuff? the piñata market is worth over $130 million
Oh my
in
gosh.
the US.
That's crazy.
Which
We do
is-
piñatas all the time.
Do you
Really?
really?
Oh, yeah,
Do you
all
make
the
them
time.
yourself?
We've made a couple ourselves. Typically, we just go buy them and
Yeah.
whatever, load them up with candy.
What are they? Just wood bat, plastic bat, hatchet? What do you give?
Whatever we can find.
Sticks?
Whatever we can find. It doesn't matter. We're not
His
super
fist
kids
by
are
the
getting
edge of it.
punched
Yeah,
in.
I was gonna say his
we're not
fist
super
by-
stringent on it.
What about what do you think the most common birthday is in the US?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Month and date.
Oh,
What do you think the most common
Month and
birthday is
date.
in the US?
August 3rd.
That was specific. Why?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, cool.
I was just gonna say June, sometime in June,
Think
because I
sometime,
feel
yeah.
like that's just our family. We have like
Yeah.
September 9th is the most common
Okay.
birthday. And do you
Okay,
want to know
interesting.
why?
What is it?
It's right around the holidays is when parents procreate.
Okay. I get that.
Yeah.
That's the logic behind that. But yeah, September 9th.
September 9th.
September 9th.
That's the, I mean, I have
Yeah, it's the
my
most
mom,
common birthday.
I
I
think
mean,
my mom or my sister, one of them is September 9th and the other one's September 8th or 10th. So
yeah, my
Two-
I mean
two-
my
two bookends.
yeah, my wife is one of 8 kids, and most of the birthdays are in September.
Really?
My brother's
I have a
a
September
September
1st.
birthday.
yeah,
So,
my
yeah.
daughter's September 1st.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, so there it is.
Checks out.
Thanksgiving,
Checks
Christmas.
out. Yep.
That's what I mean.
New Year's.
Yeah, there it is. Let's pivot. Let's hard pivot from baby making to what about awkward small talk at birthdays?
Oh my gosh.
Like-
The worst is when you. It's not the worst because it's unfair to the other guy your birthday you're going to, but because he's in the same boat as you, being like, I gotta go. All these dads coming. I don't know any of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And just because our kids played in a little league game together, now I gotta like entertain this guy for 4.5 hours. So
Do you guys make small talk, or do you go over and just monitor the kids? Like, do you go over and just, I'll stand over by the.
I
you know.
scope it out, so
Yeah.
I'll see how the dad is, and then I'll typically make up some kind of emergency, like, oh, looks like she's about to fall down the swing, and meanwhile she's not doing anything, and so I'll become like a really good parent at those
Yeah.
birthdays where I'm like,
You don't just become belligerently drunk at the bar.
What about you? How do you deal with the small talk?
Yeah, it's just shaking hands. You know, that's the
Yeah.
name of the game. It
That's
depends
it.
if you're.
You don't
it
say
depends
anything
if
after
you're-
shaking
No,
hands.
just a good handshake and then solid, firm shake.
A good shake.
They know what's up. After that, they know what's up, and it's fine. You know,
So what's the s'more cake?
It's
Is
different.
it-
It's different if you're hosting though.
How many layers is your wife's cake?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is different if you're hosting, obviously, versus if you're at another kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
You know,
What are some of the best and worst birthday moments that you've had, either with the kids or at someone else's birthday? What are like some moments that stick out?
I mean, I'm always a fan of like birthdays that actually have activities for the kids.
Yeah.
And so, like, even though Chuck E. Cheese is like a weird, like, I'm a
Classic.
fan. I'm a
Yeah.
fan of Chuck
Yeah.
E. Cheese.
So actually,
birthdays.
So
My
are
kids were
you
just
guys
there.
an outsource? Like, are you let's do it out the house, or you let's do it in the house? type of
I'm a
family?
big fan of doing it in the house.
Yeah, me
because like
too.
there's like I always feel it's awkward when you have people like have to go to a place and then there's like, well, is there food going to be there? Is there not going to food be there? Is this or that? Like I'm much more of like my wife always has this has like a term she always uses. She's like, I want people to come over to our house and just feel like they can just drop their bags, drop their like both their like physical but also like their emotional bag and just feel like they can just hang out.
Yeah.
And so like it's really hard to go do that at a Chuck E. Cheese where it's like, hey, be there at 3 and at 5 o'clock we're leaving. Like
Yeah.
and that's kind of how those parties
Yeah.
have to be. So I'm not a huge fan of them. They're fun to go to as an adult because you can like kind of what we were just talking about. You can kind of
Yeah.
distract yourself with
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm going to go play whatever game or whatever game. But I'm a fan of having them in the house. You know, people come over because our birthdays will last like 7-8 hours. We've had birthday parties. I'm not kidding you. That we start thinking like, okay, this is lunch. It rolls through dinner. Nobody leaves. So we just ordered something for dinner.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we end up, like shutting it down with whatever. Like
That's
we've
great.
had like some
It's a good
long,
party, man.
long
It's a good
birthdays.
Sounds like
yeah, yeah. I don't think you and I got the invite to the last
No,
one.
I don't think
No,
so.
must have missed that. You guys send like invites out by carrier pigeon? I don't.
Do we? Well, do you actually send out invites for birthdays?
Good question.
Or is it just text?
I don't know. My
think
wife
we've
does
been more
whatever
text.
she does.
Yeah.
But then you get like the ones that are like, it's like the auto text from like a random number because you use some kind of like tool to like plan the birthday. You ever use those ones?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we've
yeah.
missed plenty of birthdays
Yeah.
for that
Oh,
reason.
you just missed because you just missed the invite.
Just missed
yeah.
missed
I
the
wonder
invite.
if there's comments, if there's people can leave comments on like what the like good protocol for inviting for birthdays because I think we've just started doing text, which is like, before, and you used to go, you get the address book and you'd like handwrite all the letters and you'd send them to people like, hey, come to my birthday party or something like that. Remember, like you never had to do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
You just jogged my memory. Do you guys do thank you cards after?
We do, like on the first birthday, we write them for the kid. And then as they get older, we make the kids start writing them. So
we
like
make our
once they get to the age of probably like 7, 8 years old,
Yeah.
when they can actually write,
Yeah.
we'll make them write and be like, thank you for whatever.
Yeah.
We do. We force them to do it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Same with us. Yeah, you got to send thank you.
What are you guys typically doing, like food wise and stuff, like at these birthdays? Like how all out?
Italian, you can feed the masses. Everyone loves it. Come on, what else are you gonna do?
Family style?
Keep it easy. Pizza, pasta for family style. Yeah, salads, stuff like that.
I feel like I don't know why stuff got like so much fancier as we got older. I was trying to think about like birthdays we did like when we were younger. The amount of McDonald's birthdays that I either had or went to. Remember, like they'd have like the play areas, like the McDonald's.
Yeah.
play
Oh,
area.
yeah. Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like
Like
it was.
Chick-fil-A now.
Is it Chick-fil-A now?
I was just saying now. I feel like Chick-fil-A's got the
Does
little.
Chick-fil-A do birthdays now? Can you
think so.
can you do a birthday
I'm sure
at these
you-
places?
I don't know if they do that anymore.
No.
Because you used to be able to have your birthday.
That's
at
what I mean,
McDonald's.
like,
It was
you
like a theme. Like they'd give you the whole area.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I think they looked at it now and they're like, listen, we don't want the headache's not worth it, right?
Yeah.
From a square foot retail space.
Yeah. Really
Yeah. That makes sense. Let's pivot to listener corner. So the question is, what is a fun birthday tradition that you do for your kids?
A tradition. We kind of moved away from like. We'll try to get them like a
We moved
gift.
away from celebrating birthdays.
Yeah. No, but you guys have brought it up. Like we have really generous family and stuff, and people come over and they always want to give something.
Yeah.
So it's like we're just like we don't need more toys and stuff like that, and so we're trying to move away to just more like experiences. So like the kid gets to pick their cake, they get to pick the meal, and then if they can want to do something and maybe invite a friend, that could be like the celebration. Because we really don't. We've moved away from doing like a lot of parties.
Yeah.
And we started out doing, which someone told me, and it was a great idea. We did the coffee donuts at the park party. Have you guys done this?
Dude, we do those. Like
They're great
for those middle weird
years.
They're awesome.
Because it's a public place, but
Yep.
you just bring some stuff for the parents, stuff for the kids. Everyone's happy. They can play as long as they want.
Yeah.
So that was like a great hack. So we did that for a while.
I mean, it is a very is not an intimate party at all. It's like,
Yeah, no, it's
it's
not,
like
yeah.
we're rolling up with 12 dozen donuts.
Yeah.
We don't even know if these people even know our kid, and they're rolling up
Yeah,
taking
right.
donuts and
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, buddy.
yeah.
The homeless guy from
Yeah,
Home Alone.
100%.
Yeah. And you're limited to when you can do that. Obviously, if you have a winter birthday, you know. you
True.
have-
Yeah.
And we've done those. So not to cut you off, we've done those, and I always feel weird because like you have to get early, you have to like commandeer your tables.
Yeah,
and it
right.
feels very like
Yeah, back off. Put the warning tape.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to put the police warning tape
yeah,
up.
exactly. Quarantine
People
the
I
area.
shouldn't go in there. And you
Yeah.
walk in.
That actually reminds me, before you answer and before I answer, what about like gifts that you do for like the kids? Are you typically like, they ask for something, you try and surprise them with something, or is it an experience? Like, how do you guys typically navigate gifts with kids?
We try to ask, and then if it's reasonable, we'll get them. Try to give them that one thing that they really want.
Like
My wife's
like their 529 contribution.
like their 529. Yeah, my
that
wife's
makes
really good with like setting expectations for like events. So with like birthdays, even vacations, like she's really good. Like, okay, let's talk about the day. What's one thing you want to do? What's one thing you want to get? And I think that helps just curb like because when your kid turns into the birthday monster and they just they're just tearing through presents. They don't say anything.
No.
It's kind of like Christmas almost. They
Yeah.
tear through. They don't say anything after the gifts. It's
So we do this thing in our house where when we go out and our kids are pretty good at not like asking for stuff when we go to like Target and places like that. But one of the reasons why that is because if they like something, our go-to is always add it to your birthday list or your Christmas list.
okay,
Yeah.
nice.
So like we'll be walking through Target and I don't know, the kid will see something and be like, oh, add that to my birthday list. And like half the time you're not even really paying attention.
Sure.
So then the birthday rolls around and you're like, wait, what was on that list again? Like you're like frantically trying to
You got a little Keep or what? Google Keep or something? You keep a list on?
Nothing. Like I'm hoping it's just all recency bias. It's just whatever the last two or three things were that they looked at. But
I'd say for that we when they're little we do a lot of like the choose whatever, but we still get them good gifts. At the age of 13 though, in our family we say, okay, you no longer get gifts like you typically would get. We'll get you like an outfit or something like that.
Sure.
But then it becomes experiences. So then it goes like big into the experiences. So when I think it was my oldest turned 13, maybe it was one of the kids. One of the older 3 kids turned 13. They were like, "Oh, we really want to try I forget what it's called, like Sky Zone, where you like
Yes.
do the indoor skydiving.
Trampoline?
No, the
Oh,
indoor
indoor
skydiving.
skydiving, yeah,
I forget
okay.
the name of it.
Not Sky Zone. That's a trampoline park.
Okay.
Is it the one in Westlake?
No, this
I
is
didn't know
like
there was one of those around here.
there's one in Columbus. We were actually in
Okay.
Arizona at the time. There's one in like the Scottsdale
I know the one you
area.
mean, where
you
you
like go
kinda
in the
like
tube
floating.
and you
Yeah,
float.
yeah,
in.
yeah.
And so like we did that, and so like it's not
That's-
cheap,
no,
right?
Yeah.
It's per
But
minute.
It's per
They charge
minute.
you per
yeah.
minute.
It's per minute. I'm good. Just get me down. Get me out of here. I felt it. I only need a minute of it.
Yeah. Drive 3 hours, you get
Ooh.
2 minutes, and you're like,
Oh,
all right.
dude, it was, but it was actually a lot of fun.
It is fun. I've
was
done
a,
it.
It was
Yeah.
it was a
Fun.
lot of fun. But so we'll do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like, or like we got a concert, like we'll buy concert tickets and
Yeah.
take them all out for a concert of their choosing or
Yeah.
something like that. So as they get older, we've really switched to more
Yeah.
experience rather than just gifts.
What's wrong with a pinata and a clown? That would've
Well,
been-
there's
that
no,
would've-
there's
that
no,
would've been cheaper.
they'll still get a pinata typically. Still get a pinata typically.
That's funny. That's funny.
The best, and I think you asked the question like one of the best or experiences or whatever it is.
Yeah, traditions.
But like one of the hacks that we've done is to get out of the house, and this is during like in the summer months we love everybody coming over because
Yeah.
we have a great house for like summer parties.
Sure.
Like, but during the winter we have one birthday that is in between Christmas and New Year's. So like everybody's exhausted from like the whole Christmas, New Year rush, whatever.
fatigue.
And so my daughter, whose birthday that is, we have maybe not like I think about 6 times so far. We rent out a ice rink and we make it this big like ice skating party.
Cool.
Which is a lot of fun. So like anybody can come, everything's free. Like you just basically
anybody
show-
can come. Another one we weren't invited to. Matt.
Anybody-
Just another.
He's
Anybody
inviting people
can
off the
come.
street. You know?
Anybody can
Not
come.
those
All I've
guys.
heard is open door policy for everyone but my best friends.
it's all free. But that's a lot of fun because like you're cooped up. And,
Yeah, that's
you
a great idea.
You get the kids out.
a
Since
great
it's
one.
a private rink or like you rent out the rink.
Yeah.
It's safe for like the little kids who like maybe want to walk on their
Yeah,
shoes or sit
yeah.
on like these little like they're like seals that you kind of push around
Yeah,
the ice.
yeah, yeah.
So they can feel like
fun.
they're like participating. So like that's the big like the one big hack we do in those months that are just you know
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
We're not a big trampoline park place like
nor are we.
Yeah.
any of those places. You look at the cost of it, it's just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
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 But anyway.
Yeah. Germs are outrageous.
Oh, dude.
there. Yeah,
Dude.
it's
The
just-
germ factor.
Everybody's picking up staph infection.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Naveed, do you have places
Ebola.
listed by germ factor?
I
where you're
do,
like, no,
I do.
no.
It's
no.
actually by Band-Aid count. So the number of Band-Aids you
that's
find
good.
at like a Sky Zone.
not the number of band-aids you're wearing.
No,
the
no,
number
no.
of dirty band-aids
The number
you
of
find.
dirty Band-Aids you'd find at Chuck E. Cheese versus...
Chuck E. Cheese, you find a dead body in the ball pit, dude.
just work around him.
yeah,
That's
just
fine.
push the balls away.
the animated band. You're like,
Yeah.
But a fun, you know what's funny is a fun birthday tradition that we've done and will continue to do with our twins coming is for the kids' first birthday. Once the whole chaos is over, so once the birthday's done, we've cleaned up, all the family's left, and it's usually like pretty late at that point in time. My wife and I will sit down at the kitchen table together, and we will separately write a letter to the kids.
Ooh,
that's cool.
For
Very
them to
sentimental.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
For them
You
to
got that
open,
live.
for them
That's
to
great.
open at age 18. So we did it with our eldest. We did it with our youngest for her first birthday, and then we'll continue it with the twins as well. And it's funny, like you'll have had like this like amazing birthday, and you're on this high. It's been 7-8 hours. You're completely exhausted, but then you'll be writing this letter, and suddenly you'll be like, oh, I can't keep it in. And then like suddenly your tears are coming down. Like your wife looks over and she's like, what? Why are you crying? And like suddenly you're both crying and like you're finishing this letter, and it's kind of cool. And like then you just put it in like an envelope and you just never like look at it again.
We write
That's
we
cool.
do that for every birthday. We write like a card for the kid.
Yeah.
And it's more of like that where it's like
Yeah.
paragraphs of writing of
Yeah.
like kind of capturing the last year they've had and whatever.
Yeah.
And we give them the cards, and I think my wife saves them all. So like
Oh, that's cool.
they'll have like a stack of these cards eventually. And they'll probably get them when they're 18 and be like, what the heck do I need? And they'll throw them out, something dumb like that, because it'll be,
Yeah.
But yeah,
Naveed's will be in a binded book, leather bound book.
It will
That'll
be.
feeling.
framed,
Yeah.
It'll be very nice.
etched with
Presented,
like
yeah.
a copper,
Yeah, the family seal.
Family, I was
embossed
about to
on
say
it,
family
embossed
seal.
on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, family
yeah.
seal on there. Family seal. That's awesome. Let's pivot to dad interests. Any fun dad interests for you guys? Do you want me to give you one? Something
Yeah, what do you
like-
got?
So we started, and again, I'm always like hesitant to give like a recommendation around something that we haven't finished, but we started this documentary on Netflix last night. So it's a 3-part sort of mini series all about capturing Osama bin Laden. And it's pretty cool. Like, because again, I didn't live here during 9/11. I did obviously live in New York for a period of time, and I can't even fathom like something like that happening, like just at like again like at any point in time. But the documentary kind of goes all the way back like to the 80s, and kind of like that rise in like the sort of that age of terrorism and how 9/11 came to be. But then it also kind of talks through what the US response was relative to that. And there was this crazy thing, like I saw in one of the episodes where probably about within 90 days post 9/11, they had sent like 4 US soldiers. So they sent a large presence to Afghanistan to try and track him down. But there was this particular like hit squad of 4 guys who had like 10 random like Afghan villagers showing them through the mountains. And these 4 guys found bin Laden in the mountains. And it was like bin Laden in like this like mini stronghold with like 1,000 people. And these 4 guys had like called it in, and they were like, we found him. We need you to send whatever, right? Like, I'm not going to pretend to know who,
SEAL team
whatever, right? Yeah.
They
They're
were
asking,
F-16s, something
yeah,
like
whatever. Yeah. Let's name more acronyms I don't know.
That's an airplane.
Could have just said airplane. But they basically called it in, and it went all the way up to like George W. Bush. He's just like, no. Like,
Well,
fine.
if we would have
Wow.
solved it, we can't go into Iraq.
So it's just, again, it's super interesting because there was a point in time when like the US were like funding a lot of these like, let's call them fighters, because they were fighting the Soviets
Yeah, they were
in like the
fighting
80s,
That's why
90s.
they had all their AKs and
It's
stuff.
never
Yeah.
as clear cut.
It's
as
never
you
as
think.
clear
No,
cut.
there's
And like I
always
said,
more going
and like
on.
I said,
Yeah.
not growing up here, not knowing the full story, and kind of just, you know, and again, like these things I'm always like hesitant to recommend because like, you know, you never know who they're interviewing
Yeah.
and like what that person's like affinity
The
is.
biggest thing is what their slant of the public or producer is
Right.
like,
Yeah.
you know, what are they really trying to say? And sometimes you get through the first 2.5 episodes and they like culminate it with it, and you're like, whoa, I did not know I
Yeah, yeah.
I know. That's why I'm really hesitant to have
Yes.
given that
So
recommendation.
just be careful.
Yeah, I don't want to get to the end of this and be like, wait, do I support?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say though, the guy, I think I told you guys when I run, I listen to Navy SEAL books.
Yeah.
The guy that actually killed him has a book out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
yeah, and it's
What's that guy's name?
I couldn't tell you. I can't remember.
Isn't it Dan something?
Sounds so
I-
generically
I don't
bland.
know. Maybe
Yeah, I
it
think
might
it's-
be, but
whatever.
it's
I know who
if
you're
you
talking
want the actual like story of that team and how they got the call, they started getting briefed, but they couldn't tell them anything. It's more the last moments, obviously.
Interesting.
They're the ones that actually get in there and get the job done. But
Wasn't it some like lady that like some cleaning lady that they turned that eventually told them where he was or something like that? They followed.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I remember.
I don't. The intelligence groups are the ones that figured out exactly where
Yeah.
they were, but I know they built a structure that was the exact replica of where he was, so they could run drills.
Yeah.
So they knew exactly what they were going to be.
What I always find
facing.
interesting is like when they have like footage like from the time. So like
Oh, yeah.
one of the guys who is like a feature in like the first episode is the guy who was like one of the close aides to like George W. Bush at the time. Like he's like his intelligence officer that was briefing him every day. And it's the guy that, you know, the iconic scene where he's reading the book to the kids at the school.
Oh,
and he,
yeah,
like,
yeah, they
whispers
tell
in-
him.
And he whispers
Yeah.
in his
Yeah.
ear. And it's like real time footage of that. And he's walking, the guy who whispers in the ear is now walking us, the audience, through like
Yeah.
what he's like whispering in the ear. And you just see the color go from like George W. Bush's face.
But he finishes
Yeah.
the book.
He finishes the book,
Yeah.
but he supposedly goes to claim, I didn't want to spook the kids. But like there was a real threat that school was going to get targeted.
Yeah.
And so they like are frantically like getting him out, and then they didn't know where to go. So they get him into Air Force One, and they are just circling,
just flying.
flying around. It's
Dude,
insane.
That's crazy.
the entire like that entire like whatever it was little bit of time was
Yeah.
absolutely insane. And then when he goes when George W. Bush goes out and throws the first pitch at Yankee Stadium, I think it
When
was.
they playing the Mets or something, right?
Yeah, it was some New York.
Whatever.
I don't know. I think it was Yankee Stadium or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, did they cover that? Cause
Not yet.
Because they were like, you can't do this. And he's like, the world needs to be united. Or the U.S. needs to be united. And he goes out there, and they're like, there is we have it on good authority that you will be targeted. And so he goes out there and throw it. And like, there was a moment in like, you know, we were like very, very rarely are you around when history is created.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now I have older kids.
Yeah.
And they weren't around. Like my youngest was born in 2008 or 9,
Yeah.
something like that. So like that whole world is like,
Yeah.
it's just it's something in the history book.
It's
to them.
crazy.
Whereas like our kid, like my grandparents, my one grandparent, she lived through the Great Depression. She lived through all the real wars, all
Yeah.
the big wars we've had, I should say, up until, you know, even Iraq, she was alive for. But like in our history, it's like, yeah, Desert Storm in the U.S., which was kind of like whatever, a 3-day war, whatever they
Sure,
call
yeah.
the thing. It was a pretty quick excursion. Obviously, you have Afghanistan and
Yeah.
Iraq, which were, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of pain, whatever. But this was like, it's just a weird time in history to have lived through.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the
Another
kids,
quick segue. I don't know if you guys have spent any time in New York, but the 9/11 memorial there it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like it's spooky. Like it's like, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like it's really cool.
By the way, the guy's name is Robert O'Neill.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Robert
Robert
pulled
O'Neill.
the trigger.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Not Dan.
He
Supposedly not Dan.
he actually
Dan around the corner.
He reads the book too. I
Oh, it's
believe
Bob. It's Bob around the corner.
Around the corner.
not Dan.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, guys, check it out. It's
Yeah.
really cool. Why don't you take us home, Matt?
Yeah, guys, you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the podcast. That way you'll get notified every time a new one drops. We'd really appreciate that. We're building a network of dads around here, and we're super thankful for you guys listening. We want you guys to be a part of it. So, again, you can even find us on YouTube. Yeah, we're pretty much anywhere you can find us, which I'd said that like 6 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're there.
We're
We're not going anywhere.
We are
We
here
are available
to be
and
found.
We want to be found.
Yeah. Thanks,
Cheers.
everybody.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.